Therapy here at the Children's Home can actually be really fun. We're not stuck to four walls. We've got our beautiful campus that we are able to explore and use in our interactions with the kids, which really works to our advantage because when you're working with a child who's been through trauma, difficult situations, we really want to make sure that we're walking side by side, that we're not facing them, which feels a little more confrontational. So this gives us a chance to take a walk around the mile we have, maybe sit out here on the Bridge of Hope and explore nature together, talk about their life here on campus, what school looks like, to maybe sit here at this picnic table and play Uno, which I've done many times, or play basketball, or I've even had a bike ride with one of my children when I talked with them in therapy. This really just helps us to feel a little more comfortable together, that we're interacting, that we're doing something else, and that's distracting us from maybe feeling like we have to sit down and just report back our life to the therapist, and then the therapist is going to sit back with their pencil and paper and nod their head and maybe give a little facial expression to them. But it feels real, it's real life, and we get to have fun together. And it works differently for different age groups. Some of us, I like to, with the older kids, we do a lot of art, and we've got some amazing artists here on campus. I'm amazed every time that I see them just put together a sketch so quickly and to do artwork together. And while we're having that engagement together, they're starting to explore things that have happened to them. And we, of course, do get into things in a little more structured manner on some occasions, but just that trust, that natural engagement, and that engagement side by side is what I think makes a big difference here when I'm working with the kids at the Children's Home. Over my years here at the Children's Home, I've worked with quite a few kids, and some of those just stick with you in your mind. I'm thinking back to one boy that I worked with in particular. When he first came here, he was really just struggling with interacting with his peers around him in a way that didn't result in an argument or a fight, and really trusting his house parents and his staff. So a lot of our first sessions involved us walking together, playing basketball, some small things, and kind of really getting the feeling that he was skirting around some of the bigger issues. So I gave him the time that he needed, because when trust has been broken over and over again, it takes time to build again. So we kept walking campus, we kept playing horse out on the basketball court. And one day when we were out on the basketball court, he just kind of got in his groove. Like, he had been going to practice with some of the other boys, and he was good. So he was showing me some of his moves. He was doing spins, putting the basketball under his leg, and like every time he shot that basketball, he'd make a hoop. So I got in there with him and played a game of horse, and I think he was surprised that I could actually make a hoop too. But as we were playing, I feel like it just started to flow naturally. He just started to share a little more about his life and what he's been through, and some of the hurts that he had, and some of the struggles that he had in trusting other adults, because the adults in his life before just weren't safe and consistent. And he shared a little bit about his life and about what his hopes were afterwards. And I feel like from that moment on, I started to see a little more of a connection with him, that we were able to engage more easily about some of those big items in session. And I also saw him settling in with his peers in the cottage and with the house parents, that he started to do really well. He was able to move to the next level in our program, and he was so proud of himself. And every time that I walk across him, I just see a big smile, and that he wants to share some of his most recent accomplishments. And that makes me smile. How could it not?
I remember how helpful my therapist and house parents were when I lived at the children's home.